yet another episode of the Dynamic Talk Show. That's where we strike great conversations with technology and business leaders. I'm your host, Smriti Gandhi, Director Community Engagement and Executive Editor, Greyhead Media. Last few months have been overwhelming for all of us, with an alarming increase in the number of COVID-19 cases and lockdowns in many states. We have been into a prolonged era of uncertainty, a lot of chaos, some bit of despair, apprehension, but also a lot of hope. The year 2020 was unprecedented and it continues to surprise us even halfway into 2021. Among many life changing things, what COVID 19 did was put digital transformation into a turbocharged mode. From a nice to have, it has now become a survival toolkit, a must to have. Almost overnight, organizations were forced to adapt and modernize to meet the altered customer expectations and keep up almost similar experience and better it. COVID-19 has had a massive impact on the Indian aviation sector. A report by Accenture estimates that digitization in the aviation will create an additional revenue of $305 billion of value for the industry over the next decade. We have with us today Mr. Devanshu Bhatia, Head Marketing, Delhi International Airport, to discuss with us on digitization of the marketing function and customer experience in the aviation service industry. Small and brief about Mr. Bhatia. He comes with a rich digital and brand expertise where he has delivered on customer experience and used digital transformation, AI, data analytics to maximize revenue. He's worked in complex matrixed organizations and he brings with him best practices on partner engagement and communication strategy. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bhatia. Hope all safe with you.
Thank you, Smriti. Thanks. So far so good as we call it these days because life is so unknown and these are such unprecedented times that I hope it stays like this for me as well as you and everybody hearing us.
Thank you so much. So without much delay, let me begin our conversation. So the first question to you, we are talking about the aviation service industry. How is this industry responding in this pandemic to reassure its customers?
I think any airport, whether it's a Delhi airport or, whether it's a Schiphol or in Amsterdam or Changi, uh, any airport contributes to the GDP of that city in a very big way. You know, if I just look at the Delhi airport, we can all Google up the numbers, but we are in a double-digit contributor to the GDP of Delhi's economy itself. Having said that, it is also a lifeline wherein right from the products, that come using the cargo services of the airport or, human beings traveling from one place to another for whatever reasons, whether it is business, whether it is visiting friends and family or maybe vacation, airport plays a very critical role there. At any level, at every level, one of the core aspects of every airport has in some way remained that how can they make the lives convenient for people? How can they give them a seamless experience? Uh, how is it that they can incorporate digitization into the workflow of the passenger, looking at the heat maps, trying to reduce the red spots, make it amber, try to reduce the amber spots, make it green, and give that consolidated package to that particular passenger. So, with that thought process, um, with this new engagement of the pandemic that has given a rise to digital and how we started incorporating digitization in every damn field, there are a lot of services, there are a lot of new products that have now been introduced, which were probably not there before. Just to give you an example, Delhi Airport has introduced, this is first wave, has introduced something called as contactless payment. Now, we have an own application. This application was helping people find out the road, the floor map, and if they had to go to a prayer room or a toilet or some baby changing room and things like that. We also now incorporated a facility there that rather than going to a store, pay by a credit card, pay by a cash, you can immediately pay scanning through this code. Now, what has happened is, though there are other partners also that are available, but when such a pandemic hit overnight for a process driven organization where multiple stakeholders are involved, we were able to launch this and make lives easier for customers. And similar such incidents are there, which I think during the discussion I can give you an example of.
Okay, great. I mean, these examples I think will add a lot of value to all the community members who will be listening to all of this. So continuing on, as the first wave, the first wave came in March 2020, when the lockdowns announced, and that's how companies started recalibrating their technology infra. What were your top priorities during that time from an organization point of view? How well prepared were you, if at all? And what were the few challenges that you would like to bring out?
So, this the first wave was the uncertain times. Every second day there was a new mandate that was coming. Now, one of the major challenges that we faced was that it was not that people were not traveling. It was not that people had got. There were a lot of cases where people had got stranded and they had to reach their respective places. Now, to some degree, like I said, from our own airport application perspective, there were things that were still work in progress. We were not ready, and hence we ensured that the teams work day and night and give it to the passengers immediately. There were also a couple of other things and other initiatives that we did, which probably at um, now when I look back upon, maybe were not something that we had thought something like this would happen. So as simple as not taking a when you take your bags, typically you enter with your bags straight away, and then you go to a check-in hall and get your boarding pass issued, and you submit your bags there. But that's where we started. Now these probably may not be directly digitally linked, but and I'll build a relationship at the end of the point. So, for instance, your first step was that you get your bag sanitized. The second step was that there was a constant communication that was happening, telling the people that the trolleys that you are using, they are sanitized. The third level was at the entry of those big gates. The mats were all wet because we started telling the people that we are sanitizing the base of your shoes. And during this journey, very subtly, very intelligently looking at the gates positioning, we started installing some extra machines where we started also telling the people that why don't you get your boarding pass, via these self check-in machines and just go and submit your products, baggages. Uh, from a penetration perspective, the number of people who were carrying their boarding pass on their mobile phones, or compared to a printout, compared to nothing at all, was very less. So people in this category were very less as compared to those who were just carrying their tickets. They would go to a check-in hall and get their boarding pass there. So it was a slow and steady process, and that's where with the whole education and giving some kind of an assistance, we started building in this kind of a technology wherein people start getting their boarding pass. Now, this was still at the first wave. Lately, we have started doing some experiments. Of course, we did this in our Hyderabad airport as well. Now we are doing the same experiment in our Delhi airport, wherein you necessarily need not even enter, take a printout of your boarding pass through those machines. Your face becomes your ID. So you go, we are calling it a Digi Yatra. The whole initiative is called Digi Yatra. Your face gets recognized, and through, there are some sensors that are placed, and uh, other than the part where it's compulsory to do your frisking, you can walk straight away without any stoppages. Similarly, we had other programs which were all digitally linked, whether through our website or through our mini robots that we had placed at international and domestic arrivals, where people, the Digi Suvidha program that we had launched, wherein when people who were coming to the country could fill these forms up so that the queuing could happen in a better manner, and they were giving their information in terms of when they are coming, after they arrive to the airport, which city are they flying off? If they're not going to some other city, where are they staying? So if a case like this could have been got, it would have been easier to understand where these guys are and then tell the authorities to follow the protocols.
So, a lot of digitization which happened at the airports.
A
Uh,
lot of digitization happening at the airports. I think ministry has also played a very important role there because the Digi Suvidha that I was talking about, though of course we made it in house, but now such similar programs were asked by the government to follow at other airports also. And a lot of hassle was saved for the international passengers. You must have seen all those, WhatsApp forwards coming to you, wherein there are these nice lights that are following, which are helping you to maintain distance and everything. Now, in a country like ours, where the population, of any airport, so Delhi airport did about 70 million passengers before Corona, right? And this year we were on the verge of 72, 73 million passengers. So with that kind of a rush, handling every passenger by those light rails becomes difficult. But that's where you do these initiatives, which are probably unheard of. You also, and this is not for one particular airport. Then you start building in these programs across the whole gambit, because then you're standing at an Indian pedestal.
If I remember reading well, I remember Delhi was termed to be one of the safest airports in India.
Yeah,
Am I
that's
right?
correct. Absolutely. So with similar initiatives, so I was speaking about how we ensured that bags were getting sanitized, not only at departure, even at arrivals. Every bag which came from the aircraft before it reached the passenger, they were getting sanitized. We started devising various other methods. Some of them we thought of doing it, we couldn't do, like probably putting in a baggage tag which had a chip wherein could be tracked on the mobile phone of the passenger. Of course, these were some ambitious projects. The priority became very different. So we tried to restrict ourselves in telling the passengers that we are a safe airport to be. The way we started cleaning the bathrooms, there were some special UV machines that were ordered, which were sanitizing the bathrooms 24 by 7. The protocols that were made to clean air circulated within the terminal buildings. Every 8 to 10 minutes, fresh air was being pumped in, circulated air was, cleaned. Um, we did a lot of campaigns also for passengers to be confident and comfortable. Many a times we would do some research and collect insights that what is it that the passengers are charging for, and if he's not comfortable, what are those factors he's not comfortable with, and try and address that piece with the respective teams to give that comfort to them. And we were happy to be adjudged one of the best.
I think that's true customer experience. Asking what you require. So, as I said earlier, Devanshu, first earlier there was an accelerated shift. So, once the lockdown was announced in March 2020, earlier digitization was more of about nice to have requirement. Also, now it's more of a survival toolkit, a must have requirement. How was you gave a lot of examples of Delhi airport, how a transformation took place. Any other examples that you would like to highlight on how digital transformation was used in your industry, apart from the examples that you gave?
So I think that the self check-in, the rampant growth of the self check-in machines across all buildings was, I think, one which not only the Delhi airport has followed. Airports across the world have started really investing in that kind of a technology. Um, Second, the way the ecosystem has increased now, sorry, the way the whole ecosystem has changed. Contactless payment was still the hot word almost a year back. Today, it's a mandate, right? But a lot of new things were introduced. So, for instance, because people were scared, they would not shop at the airport. They would especially not eat at the airport. They would simply run to the boarding gates and sit and wait there for the aircraft doors, the piers to open so that they can board the flights. So, a lot of initiatives were set up there with two perspectives. One was, we as an ecosystem, we have a lot of concessionaires who are selling food to help them so that their business is not impacted. From a passenger perspective, uh, the passenger is scared to go to a food court and eat. So, what is it that we can do so that food can now be delivered to him? So, we launched a lot of web pages, accessible via QR codes. A lot of people we also deployed at the airport who could probably use a sanitized iPad if they were not really digitally comfortable to do it themselves. They could order the food there, and we ensured that once we put the boarding gate number and some identification, the food started getting delivered there. So that was one such initiative. Cigarette smoking rooms is another thing. Because of the social distancing, we deployed a counter there wherein we said that the moment 5 spots are taken, you cannot enter the smoking room, to ensure that uh, right from your bathrooms to your lounges to your smoking rooms, there was a restriction that was placed using all the digital technology that is available with us to ensure that people do not clutter and crowd and and I think these are some examples. Other things also come to my mind. In the sake of interest, I'm just limiting it to these top two or three places. Before I ask you for your next question, one other example that I have is something called as a shop and collect. Now, shop and collect was something that we were doing for our duty-free businesses. So that means when you were departing, you book your products from duty-free stores, whether it's a core category like a tobacco or an alcohol or perfumes or apparel or whatever, and you collect them on your way back. So for domestic, we introduced something called a free home delivery under the shop and collect manner. So that means if you are traveling, you don't want to take the risk of carrying that baggage along with you. You give the address, that product will be delivered to you. And how it happened to the world, the Amazon packages, which we used to be very excitedly waiting and used to tear it open when it came. I'm sure on an average, every Amazon packet waits for 12 to 24 hours outside and then you open it. So with that kind of convenience, we saw number of orders going up there and people still getting that confidence that this is another thing that we can do. So these are some examples that come to our minds.
I think you're putting me back to what I think a lot of people of like us are doing, getting the packages and then waiting for about 12 to 14 hours to open the package.
Before you open them, correct?
Yeah. Okay. So, we spoke about the first wave, March 2020, how we started the digitization in the industry, etc. Now the second wave is on and, it's more deadly, more devastating. Do you think that the plans that are made in 2020 are again redundant or they need more fine tuning? What is the way future? What is the roadmap for the future? And what are the scenarios that are likely to impact your industry in 2021? With the black fungus coming in, the white fungus, and I don't know what all other color palettes fungus will come in. What is it likely to impact your industry in 2021?
Okay, so I think to the best of our knowledge, to our doctors and scientists who have told us, social distancing is one of the key factors. Wear your mask right. That is one of the key factors to protect yourself. Now, the way the vaccines are also started getting available, and I think a significant, I think 30-40% people have already got their first shot, which is expected to be higher in the coming weeks. Now, I think after 2 months, 3 months, they're opening up the second dosage for 18 to 45 category, considering 45 and upwards have most of them got two level shots. I don't really see anything changing drastically for this current pandemic. What you said, fine tuning, I think fine tuning anyways is important. So whether second wave is stays here, not stays here, there would be certain learnings that you've had that you will keep on building into the system from a day-to-day perspective. But reinforcing the message that do not put your mask down is something every airport today feels is important. So wherever it is possible, whether geo-targeting your airport location to make sure that that message is available to you whenever you're on your mobile phone, that will still be done in a similar ways. Promoting the same message via announcements wherever there is not a silent airport, uh, through various television screens that are there at the airport, that I think will continue. Distancing, whether via stickers on the floor or lights guiding you that you have to maintain depending on the population of the airport, I think that will continue to stay. Um, there would be certain new changes. For instance, I think currently the industry is now talking about uh, what. So, okay, sorry, I'll take a step backward. So, after the first wave, what we realized was, and especially this is typically not limited to just our airports that come in our gambit. This is, I'm talking from an industry perspective. What we realized was that the people who were traveling, initially they were traveling because either they were stranded or they were going to meet their parents eventually, family and parents and all this stuff. Eventually, we realized that there was a generic change that happened in the people, in the demographics of people who were traveling, because now these people were traveling not necessarily for traveling or business, but essentially for visiting friends and family, as we coin it internally. Now, from a business perspective, tourism and business travelers are the two categories which avail the maximum number of services. Hence, buying products or retail products or eating out at the airport, uh, leading to business or monetary profit to any airport from a concessionaire perspective. So when this population changed, when these guys started not coming in, the business started getting impacted severely. So what we did was, got hold of a couple of partners in the realm of the airport community. We spoke to airports, we spoke to taxis, foreign exchanges, etc., and devised a program wherein we say that we launch a campaign that traveling via, using an aeroplane or traveling via Delhi or traveling to Delhi is now safe. Which eventually, with the blessings of ministry, had they approved it, probably we would have taken it across the country. But while we were in middle of planning this to revive the tourism business, the second wave, as we call it, we got hit by that. Now we are planning a different thing, and this is, airports all across, what I understand, creating separate corridors and tunnels, which will tell the people that, if you have a certificate of your injection that you've taken, or if you have a COVID-19 negative report, you can travel through this special um, area or that tunnel, which will cordon you off from other people who either don't have the jabs done or don't have a negative statement. So the idea is initially we try to impact directly the tourist category. But now since people are scared, people are not traveling, and even when they start traveling, I'm sure they will be very hesitant in availing the services that airport was known for, right? Uh, I remember, before joining aviation myself, whenever I would travel with my wife, we would run 3 hours early to sit in the lounge and just eat as much as possible and then go and sleep in the airplane. So the memories like that would now be changed. So uh, I'm sure in the times to come, people will not immediately do that. There will be some time they will take. Other uh, uh, factors will also get into play. But now, from doing a very a tourism safe hai kind of a concept to saying that, look, there is a special VIP area if you are carrying a negative report, and then trying to have that ripple effect that no, you must get a vaccination, you must get a negative report. So probably that how I think airports and other public, transport facilities will try and advise people and spread that.
As you said, your customers are two kinds, the business and the tourism, correct? Also, we have been seeing that, a lot of companies have been still not, opening up their travel policies for the employees, saying that, you cannot travel for work currently,
Correct.
or if you're traveling for your personal use, you have to have this negative report, RT-PCR, etc., etc. So, what are the strategies, current strategies? When you know that we don't know what is the next line of the pandemic, is a, there are rumors that the third wave is going to come, etc. Or some are saying that it will die down by July end. We don't know. So, what are
Yeah.
the current customer experience strategies that are being planned for this industry, which has got hit very badly?
So I think yes, future while it is uncertain, but you only plan for the future given as to what information you have currently. I feel that by default, uh, humans are social animals. There would be some positivity that comes across. They will start traveling. Many of us, I think, have had it staying at home, locked down in a home, and the first positive sign that they get, like we saw in the last year also, they will start traveling. I'm sure the precautions that they use to travel will be better than what we did last time. I remember getting those forwards of beaches of Goa being fully crowded, and I'm sure things will be better. But I think, uh, I think to a larger level, there should be some traveling happening. We can only learn from our mistakes and try to create an era of positivity. B, try to be safe by following the basic precautions, and I think things will move on and things will go, normal.
Talking of the future, I don't have a date, unfortunately. I'm sure you also don't. Post pandemic, how you think this industry will be, especially the airports? How do you perceive it?
So I think one is with this whole, in my last to last answer, I spoke about creating special areas that can be accessed by people who either have a negative report or have a certificate saying that they have injections. I think this will be a new normal that we should see. I don't, uh, I actually visualize campaigns being done by various shops outside aviation also, where they say that, look, if you have got the injection or the jab, you show us the certificate and get a 10% off. If you have both the injections done, you take it 20% discount from us. So I think uh, there was a AD and a BC, how we studied. So after death and before Christ. I think now our children will now talk about before Corona, after Corona. So, many a times when we speak internally also, the comparison in terms of the passenger profiling or demographics, we always compare it as to what was it before Corona and what will it be after Corona is over. So I think that will be a very important thing because this new change in the behavior and how it eventually becomes what it was before Corona will take some time. Uh, there was a time when many airports across our country were getting the biddings at very high prices and were looking at uh, introducing a lot of luxury and bridge to luxury brands with an intention of increasing the sale per passenger, right? The reason to that is almost, I think, 55 to 60% travel across airport, especially in India, are happening for tourism. The balance, almost 20-30% people travel for business, and these are the cream people who are buying. Now you see that, especially with more and more people now, it's becoming easier for them to fly. The cost of flight tickets have gone down. With this whole COVID wave, also, you see a change in the demographics of people. The business sector, business travel, anyways, has reduced. Tourism, anyways, has reduced. So people are traveling only for those extreme cases. Now, how do you use technology? How do you give them the comfort? Because at some level, they may or may not. Also, that class of people may not be comfortable using technology, right? Um, my parents, in my personal example, I think they do a lovely job on uh, emails and Facebook and everything. But the other day, I told them, why don't you download this Ludo game and let's just connect in a group and play. I had to literally assist them of how step by step you should go. So for educated people, who understand those things, if it is difficult, airport sees all kinds of people traveling. So that whole change into whether it should be a bridge to luxury or luxury kind of products, or also entry level products that should be available so that it's accessible to everyone. Those kind of some new changes I think we will see, and I think that will only shape up the future.
I can so empathize about the Ludo game.
No, I think it is funny because many a times, at one level, India talks, from a perspective that we will have the best of the technologies. Things will be accessible through phones. Robots being placed, and this is airport agnostic. I'm saying, but especially you will still see because our country is so beautiful in that way. There's such a diversity in in the kinds of people also. That their acceptance to digitization is also probably limited. So at one level, you get the best of the robots placed there, but at the same time, you will have probably a manpower, a guy, manning the robot who will help you talk to the robot. So, and that's how it is. So I think that's how it will stay. And probably this thing will only increase. It is funny that any mall you go to, and there are these parking, those machines that are placed, you press the button and you get the parking check. But there are two people standing just to press the button and give it to you. So I think that it is beautiful. We will accept and adapt technology, but that human intervention will also stay.
I think you're right. When we talk about, especially, when you talk about manufacturing or something, there is a concept which is there currently, the physical plus digital. I think that's going to be, that concept is not just relevant to the manufacturing firms. I think it's relevant to any industry currently, specifically maybe for India. Maybe I'm saying maybe for India, but yeah, I think what you said is right. The human intervention cannot go up.
Well,
The digital
correct.
concept.
From a Internet of Things perspective that we are doing, and we were working on such projects at the airport also. I spoke about, how your face becomes your ID, the Digi Yatra example that I gave you. So there is at one level, those kind of people also who are doing that kind of a travel also. And there are these assisted e-commerce, assisted, robot manning kind of services that are also existing.
Thank you so much, Devanshu. You actually made me, after your conversation, I feel that airports are safe to travel. Thank you so much. And thank you for
Most
this
welcome.
lovely conversation. And on behalf of Dynamic CIO, I would like to thank you for your time. And I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.